Hello and welcome to the Business Spotlight interview series. I'm your host Sonali Nigam, and today I'm joined by Raghu Kodakandala, MD and business owner at SRK Hospitality. Raghu, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Sonali, for inviting me to your podcast. It's my pleasure being in your podcast. Thank you.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much. So, would you like to kick us off with a brief background as to who you are and what you do?
As you introduced, my name is Raghu Kodakandala. I'm from India. I've done my BSc and MBA in India. After finishing my MBA, I got a chance to work in IBM in Middle East as a big business development manager for the learning services covering EMEA region. And I've been with them for 8 long years. I was literally living out of suitcases, traveling around Europe and Africa. And then in 2008, I moved to England in a place called King's Lynn. That's the love which brought me to England because I followed my love of my life, and we ended up in a remote village called King's Lynn. So she had a stable job. I left a high paying corporate job, and I had nothing else to do there. So I wanted to turn into an entrepreneur, and I was looking for an opportunity. By accident, I saw a pub for lease. I didn't know nothing about pubs. In fact, I was not even drinking. I didn't even. I'm not even. I didn't. I don't even drink at that time. Not now. So I ended up seeing that pub is for lease. So I applied for it, and I got my first pub in 2008. That's where the journey started. So I've been an entrepreneur for the last 17 years, and all my venues are in and around East Midlands. If you know where East Midlands is, it's Leicester, Coventry.
Yes.
That's where it is. Now, currently, we employ about 200 people across the board in various venues.
Thank you so much for answering that, Raghu. 17 years in the business. What do you attribute your growth to?
First thing, that 17 years makes me to sound so old, but I'll take it as a compliment.
Yes.
See, the growth attributes are different from each and every individual. See, business or entrepreneurship is a learning process. Every day is a new day. You wake up to learn new things, and you analyze what you learned from yesterday, and then work on improving on those learnings. I attribute my growth to five areas. One is the strong leadership. It's not only me being a leader, and also creating the second tier leadership. Organizations are structured, organizations are run as a hierarchy. When there's an hierarchy, everybody has got a role to do, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody has got to report to somebody and then
Mm-hmm.
deliver what they are supposed to be delivering. If it is not organized, if you don't have a hierarchy, it'd be like a mob. Mobs don't achieve nothing but a
True.
disaster. So the
Yeah.
first thing is setting up a strong leadership,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't believe in micromanagement. I believe in managing by objectives. So
Mm-hmm.
when I give an objective, I tell them, this is your objective, I want you to achieve this objective, these are the tools, and I'll give you all the necessary resources you need, but I
Mm-hmm.
want a result. So that's how I work with my team. So I always create a second tier leadership with the set objectives and the goals for them to achieve. That's the first thing. And the second thing, I believe in people and talent. So you invest on people. Businesses are nothing without the people, especially in the hospitality industry, in the restaurant service industry. If your employees are not happy, that shows on their face, and the guests are interacting with them. So if you are on a customer service handling the phone, it does not matter. But in the
True.
service industry, people want to see happy faces. In
True.
order to see happy faces, they should be working for a good employer. So
Mm-hmm.
people are very important. So I invest a lot on people and the talent. That's a second point where it's important for any business growth for that matter. The third is operations. You should have a set operational procedures.
Mm-hmm.
from what to do, opening procedures to closing procedures, stock taking, everything has to be neatly laid out for people to
Mm.
follow. Yeah,
True.
because this industry is a very, very hectic industry. You're
Mm-hmm.
on the floor, you're meeting the demands of 300 customers or 300 guests sitting for dining at the same time. The pressure is quite high.
True.
So it's very important everybody have to follow the standard procedures and process.
Mm.
And the fourth is a marketing. See, marketing is very important for the business, and you need to keep changing your strategies depending on the generation to generation. Every 5 years, a decade of generation changes, and the perception towards how they want to live changes. You see, maybe 10 years ago, the what wealth means to people is to buy a nice house or drive a Bentley or go for a nice holiday. But now the perception of being wealthy is you being healthy,
True.
having a personal space, have a mental peace. That is what wealth means these days. So every 5 years, the perception of wealth changes, and the
Changes.
perception of people change. So you need to keep constantly adopt to the changing marketing trends and
Mm-hmm.
evolve yourself and work towards changing your strategies. The last thing is financial planning. See, if you do not have financial planning, if you do not know what your balance sheet is, if you do not know what profit and loss is, so it's not necessarily mean that you're profitable. If you're
Mm.
profitable, it doesn't mean that you have a healthy cash flow. If you have
Mm.
a healthy cash flow, it doesn't mean you're profitable. So you got to every person who comes to business have to understand a bit of finance, especially P&L, cash flow, profitability. These are very important. If you don't know this, then it'll be quite challenging for anybody to sustain for a long time. So these are my takeaways, and this is what I have learned in the last 17 years of being an entrepreneur. I'm still trying to learn, but at least I understand these aspects.
Raghu, very well articulated, I must say. I mean, how well that you've put across those points. And I mean, I'm stuck at many areas, but the second point is where I'm stuck the most. So when you say employees are so crucial for any business to grow, and if your employees are not happy, it will show at their faces, and it is the place where you invest more time and efforts. So what qualities do you look for in employees when you hire them, and how do you foster a positive and a productive work environment?
See, what I look in an employee when I'm hiring. See, I only right now I only hire the general managers and executive chefs, but the rest of the team I leave it to my managers
Yeah.
because they are going to report to my managers and they work under them. But
Hmm.
for me, what I feel is I want each and every employee of mine should feel happy when they get up. Oh, I'm going to go for my job. I'm
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
I'm going there. I'm going to learn new things. I'm going to, add value to this business. So first thing I look at is a passion for what you are doing. Yeah. Don't take up any employment to pay your bills. Yeah. Then
Hmm.
you will be very unhappy. At the end of the day,
Hmm.
you come back and you're very sad because you are doing something what you are not willing to do. So
Yeah.
first thing is you should love what you're doing. Passion. When you have a passion, the commitment comes. If you don't have a
Hmm.
passion, commitment is not there. It is just like a 9 to 5 job or wherever you're going. I have to do this because I have to pay the bills. So that should not be the strategy. You do what you feel makes you happy. Yeah.
Hmm.
So first thing I look in anybody is a passion, and in my business, the love for people. They need to love people. They need love talking. They need to know, have a little bit of chit chat, know people, because if a guest comes in, if a guest comes first time, you know the name. The next time the guest come, if you know his name is Mr. John, how are you, Mr. John? Or this is your pint. I've already pulled a calling for you. You're making them special. So in
Yeah.
order to feel special, you should have the host qualities.
Yeah.
If you're in the front of the office, if you are working in the kitchen, you should have passion for food, and these are the qualities: passion and commitment first. And another thing is set objectives. You should have set objectives, not only a career path. Okay, I've joined as assistant manager. In the next 2 years, I want to become a manager. or next three
Mm.
years I want to become a general manager. So I want each and every employee of mine to set up their own individual goals and
Lovely.
work towards achieving them. So when you work for yourself, the business will work for you. The employer
Mhm.
will take a note of you, and the
Mm.
incentives and all the other things will follow. If you're
Yeah,
doing the same job, not adding value, you're not going to grow. And you can't
true.
complain an employer, ah, I'm not growing in my organization. Why are you not growing? Because you're not putting in enough efforts towards it.
Yeah.
That is something very important. Because a long time back I read a book called The Fred Factor,
Hmm.
which I recommend to every employee to read. And in fact, every employer I suggest should give a copy of Fred Factor to everybody.
Wow.
The simple thing is the Fred Factor says, if you want to be a cleaner, you be a best cleaner in the world. Simple.
Wow.
Yeah. If you focus on your job, the all the benefits, on the appreciations, all the
Will
promotions will
follow.
follow.
Hmm.
So that's what I'll look in employees, and the dedication. Be honest to yourself. You don't need to be honest to anybody else. Be honest to yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and see: Am I doing justice to myself? Am I doing justice to the place of work I am in? Am I doing justice to the person who's paying my wages? If all these answers are yes, then you're on the right job. You know. So that's what I look at, and that's what I suggest to my employees as well. You see.
So that's quite interesting. Um, Talking about the business in detail more, what would you say, like 17 years in the business, what would you say as a biggest learning as a owner of the business running successfully?
See, I have seen the recession when I started my business. The recession came. That was in 2009, and then we had an economic downturn sometime in 2014-15.
Mhm.
And then when everything was going good and we thought, okay, we are settling in, then we had the major disaster called COVID, which affected the hospitality industry very, very badly.
Very badly, yeah.
When we opened our doors back, 90% of the employees have found alternative jobs working for Amazon or doing something
True.
customer service. So there's big, huge shortage of manpower. And then we had Ukraine war with all the utilities prices going up, and now we are in recession back. Okay,
Hmm.
so it's been a bit of a, up and downs over the last 15 to 17 years. What makes you to stay is your conviction that
Hmm.
whatever happens, it will it'll go away. So you have to take one at a time. There's no point you thinking about 10 things at the same time and not doing justice to one. So handle a problem at a time and find solutions and work on it. That's something very, very important for sustainability. Another thing is evolving yourself. You have to find ways. In my business, these are specialty restaurants, and they are special occasion dining. So if people have to start cutting their spending, the first thing they do is leisure. I don't want to go to shopping. I don't want to go to a fine dine restaurant or
Restaurants.
specialty restaurant. Probably I'll also cut down on my takeaways. So I am only a leisure. Okay, so if people want to come to me, I should make sure that I give them the best experience. So we work around creating experience to the people, memories to the people, and be different from the competition. And another thing is people keep changing. The preferences get changing. You work around them, and you have to constantly keep track of the changes which is happening in and around you.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And when we talk about the challenges, you talked about the up and downs that you face. So, can I ask what challenges are you facing currently in your business and how do you address them?
The current challenges which I have is the government has recently announced the minimum wage hike.
Yeah.
In the last 5 years, the minimum wage has gone up by 40%. Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
40% is a massive wage hike. And then they're also increasing the national insurance contribution, which is going up from 11 to 15%.
Yeah.
And these are going to have a lot of financial impact for small and medium businesses like mine. Yeah.
Mm.
And if the national minimum wage and the NI is going to go up, all the suppliers who are manufacturing their goods are going to increase the price.
True.
At the end of the day, it's going to have an effect on the end user.
Customer.
Right?
Yeah.
So right now, hospitality industry is facing the biggest financial challenge,
Mm.
and the only way to survive this is to be you have to be on the top of your game
Mm-hmm.
and do the best. If one customer comes, if the guest comes, give him the best experience and give
Experience.
value for money.
Money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
So the biggest challenge right now is financial challenge.
We've talked about the various aspects about your business. I mean, how do you strike that perfect balance between the personal life and the professional one?
See, when you work for a business, it is a job. When you work for a business, when you work in the business, it's a job. When you work for a business, it is entrepreneurship. So I never work in the business. I
Yeah.
work for the business.
For the
So
business.
I only look at a bird's view of my business, and I delegate my
Work.
responsibilities, and the one thing which an entrepreneur should have is time. When you
Mm.
have time, when you have time, you'll be able to run your business more effectively.
Yes.
If you
Yeah.
are in the business doing everything, then you will become jack of all trade, and you will not be able to do what you are supposed to be doing.
True. Very
Okay.
true.
If you're a chef and you want to become an entrepreneur, and then you are being a chef, you're being a good chef. Now you are becoming a good bookkeeper. You're becoming a good accountant. You're becoming a good payroll. You want to be everything. So you can't be
Mm.
everything. So that's where you need to hire professionals to do the job, and then
Mm.
look at a bigger vision. So I tend to delegate my objectives. And yes, it is stressful because a businessman never sleeps. An entrepreneur is always thinking what
Next
next.
can be done.
So sometimes your mental peace can be affected by it. So you need to compartmentalize. You have to create them as boxes. This is your business, this is your personal life, this is your mental health. So when you
Hmm.
divide them, it is easy for you to work on them. If you mix business and personal life, it'll be it'll be a disaster both ways.
Mm.
So I like to divide my personal space from my business. So I'm not saying I'm 100% there. I'm doing justice to my personal life,
Yeah.
because my family tend to complain that I'm not there for them when they
Yeah.
need me. And that's part and parcel of life being an entrepreneur. You have to take it with a pinch of salt.
Right. And I like the way you're very honest. And thank you so much. And that is quite inspirational. And I'm sure our audience have learned and picked up so many things so far. So, is there any closing remark or a golden nugget that you would like to share with the audience before we wrap up?
um, as I say, do not get into business because someone else has been successful, or you think you're working for somebody and they're doing extremely well, and you think you can also do it. It's not everybody's cup of tea. The business
True.
is risk, and there's a lot of risks involved, and you should be very very committed to what you started, and you need to put in loads of hours. It's not a 9 to 5 job where you get a paycheck by 30th.
Yeah.
You need to be willing to sacrifice lot in your life, personal life, initially, until the business gets settled. Once you get a hang of it, once you get a hang of the business, and once you establish, it's a joy, it's a pure joy. You should know, if you cannot take pressure, and then this business is not advisable at all.
for you. Yeah.
That's the first lesson. No, first, that's what I would like to suggest, and it gives you joy. It gives you pleasure. In my industry, if I've got 13 restaurants and I'm serving about 3,000 people, when they have when they enjoy the meal, sometimes they say, you know what, I met my girlfriend here. I met my partner in this nightclub. So we want to
Wow.
come and celebrate our 10th year here. Or I met my wife in the bar. There are a lot of memories, there are a lot of experiences which they share with my establishment. That gives me immense joy when people come and say, you know what, that is where this happened, or we got married in your venue, or we had a
Wow.
wedding anniversary in your venue. So these are all memorable and cherishable experiences when I see we are giving joy to the people. And the final thought process is, take care of your employees if you want to be a successful business person. Without people, there's no business.
Raghu, I'm sure your team would be so happy to hear this. And thank you so much for your time today. It was great meeting you and learning so much about your journey. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you so much for that. And to everyone watching, I look forward to see you in my next episode. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nali, for having me. You've been a fantastic host, and love being in your podcast. And wish you all success for your future podcast. Thanks for having me
Thank
again.
you. Thank you so much, Raghu.